why am I here, this floating head, talking on this rectangular screen at you? Well, it's for many reasons. These are topics that are and have been close and dear to my heart. Um, Topics that I live with every day by me just existing in the spaces that I live in. I live, work, and play in. And so, a little bit of background on myself, and then I'll talk about what led me to wanting to have more discussions like this with other people who are like minded and come from similar backgrounds or having similar experiences as myself, or maybe something completely different. Um, I currently reside in the Eastern Sierra on the Northern Paiute land the last 3.5 years now. And before that, I was living in Yosemite National Park for about 2.5 years. And so before that, I really never went and recreated in outdoor spaces. Growing up, my family, the most outdoorsy thing we did was go to the beach. And I grew up in Southern California. And so having that experience, I always was drawn to like water and being outside in some form. I knew that always felt good and I always have memories of that, but I never knew why or what about it brought me peace, or a sense of belonging and allowed me to feel calm. And so while I was in college, I had many friends, including my sister, who were working in Yosemite National Park. And so whenever I had time off from school, going to Sacramento State, Stingers up, go Hornets, I would go and visit them. And every time I would go, it would just break my heart to leave. I mean, I always felt like I was leaving a piece of my heart somewhere else and dreaded going home and back to like reality and to the real world. And so, fast forward to summer 2017, my first summer working in Yosemite National Park. I actually worked in Yosemite Valley for the concessionaire Aramark at the time. And I've worked various jobs there, but that experience changed my life forever. Finally being able to fulfill a goal of mine that I had for so long. And I thought, I just need to work one season in Yosemite National Park and then I'm good. I'll continue on with my life, figure out what's going to happen post graduation. And yeah, I didn't want to return. I had one more semester of school and was convinced to go back because I had one semester left, finish that, and then Yosemite would always be there. And so that's what I did. Went back to school, graduated in December 2017, and moved to the Sierra and have not moved back. Um, the Sierra Nevada is the first place that's ever really felt like home to me, where I feel like I'm meant to be here. I don't know if I can say I necessarily always feel like I belong in this space, but I do feel like this place is where I'm supposed to be. Um, and so, after seeing other people who have come from similar backgrounds that I come from, who are, you know, BIPOC and come from underrepresented communities that you don't usually see within the outdoor spaces or within conservation, whether that's people recreating or that was people in positions in conservation. I saw that represented in Yosemite, and that inspired me to want to pursue a life in conservation, a life in that included recreating outdoors. And so in Yosemite, I got introduced to rock climbing. I learned how to ski, started to hike a little bit, and got into spending time outdoors and finding ways that felt good for me to spend time in these spaces, not feeling like I had to, enjoy these places in the same way others do, but finding ways that made me feel good in these places. And I'll always be appreciative to the inclusive community I've found for the most part in the Sierra, whether that's Yosemite or here in Mammoth Lakes. I've just met some amazing people, and through my experience working in conservation and my experience working on in public lands and in outdoor spaces, it really inspired me to want to provide those same, if not similar, opportunities for other people who are either interested in recreating or also interested in a career. And not saying the path that I've gone on is the right or wrong way to do that, but I'm learning there is no right or wrong way. And the biggest thing that's come away from my time in the Sierra is that following my heart and my gut and what felt good for me always was going to guide me and lead me to where I'm meant to be, or who I'm meant to be around, or what I'm meant to be doing. And I cannot express that enough. I didn't always listen to what felt good to me and my gut, and many times I was guided by what others thought was best for me, or what society has put on the pressure on us to check those certain boxes, such as, graduate high school, you go to college, you get a degree, you get a good job, you get married, you have kids, buy a house, etc. Right? And none of that felt right to me. I always just felt out of place living in urban spaces and trying to achieve those goals that just never felt right for me, or at least not to follow them in the same order that was always encouraged and kind of placed on us for so many years here in like Western society. So I'll always be thankful for the experiences that I've had and where it's led me and the path I'm on now. So what am I doing now? I want to save the time to tell more about my story and the work that I've done and the conversations I have with people and my friends and family who I'm hoping to be able to have conversations with on these shows, whatever this turns into. And whatever happens, I just think it's important. It's important to see this representation from people who you don't really hear from or see in these spaces enough, other than on the ads that you see from whatever outdoor companies who are just trying to be performative for whatever reason because they're celebrating Black History Month for a month, right? I want to celebrate these stories every day, year round, because this is a part of my story every day. This is my life. Being a biracial woman in the outdoors and in conservation, like that's my life every day. Me existing is a protest. So I want to talk to other people whose stories aren't really being heard enough, right? I don't want to just have these one-off conversations and then that's just it. We have one panel conversation and that's all. So that's why I'm starting this. And I've been told that my story isn't completely common, that it needs to be shared, and by other people sharing their stories with me that I was inspired by, I felt connected to, and I felt seen when I heard their stories, really inspired me to be like, well, who knows who would be inspired by me sharing my story and me connecting other people on a broader scale to the people I've been connected to in these spaces and hearing their stories. So I think there's so many stories that deserve to be heard, and although we're starting to see more of these become common, it's still not common enough, and there's definitely a lot of areas where you're not seeing much diversity or representation. So the reason why I chose to record this first episode in my office space in my spare bedroom at my house is because this is where I'm at today. And this is kind of where I'm heading into in the direction of like my career in conservation. I don't know where that's going to end up, but I'm purposely wearing the t-shirt from the program that I oversee, which is NPS Academy for the American Conservation Experience in the EPIC division. I am the NPS Academy member coordinator. I actually am an alum of this program. So back in 2021, I found out from one of my mentors, Sharon Miyako, shout out to her, who works in Yosemite National Park, who's this like Asian woman from the Bay Area. And she's just a phenomenal human being. But she shared the position opening for NPS Academy with me. And I thought, I'm interested in a career, or at least exploring both career options in NPS, and I thought it would be a good stepping stone for me. The whole goal of this program is to provide career development opportunities for folks who identify with for being from underrepresented communities within conservation or the Park Service, these outdoor spaces. So that really spoke to me. And ever since then, my life has not been the same. I worked as an interpretive intern at Devil's Postpile National Monument here in the Eastern Sierra, just in my backyard. And then the following summer, I was hired on as the lead interpretive naturalist, GS7, and my first position ever in the National Park Service. Just saying, not to toot my own horn, but toot toot. And then fast forward, that was last summer, 2022, where I was the lead interpretive ranger. And then fast forward to this year, where I was invited to come back as a peer lead, whereas last year for the other cohort in 2022, I was a peer mentor for this program. Came back as a peer lead this year, and then a month later, after finding out I was going to be a peer lead, I got interviewed for this position and was gifted with the honor of overseeing this program that I was a part of 2 years ago. So totally having some full circle moments. And yeah, I'm excited to see where things take me, who else I'm connected to, what other opportunities I'm given just by this opportunity here. And I'm excited to share that with you, share whatever knowledge I've gained, and also connect you guys to my friends and family who I've also had these shared experience with along the way. And some of the stories are beautiful and inspiring, and others are really frustrating and reminders of just how much more work we have to do to create spaces that are inclusive and equitable for everyone, but also diverse. And what does that mean? So I'm hoping that my friends and family will join me in wanting to share that, because there are some amazing stories out there. And I don't think that mine is the most important one. I definitely have imposter syndrome even thinking about doing this. So I apologize for the poor quality of this first video. But thank you for joining me and being interested in hearing a story that maybe you haven't heard of before, or being interested in seeing someone that looks like you who's doing something that you're curious about but haven't been able to explore yet, or not quite sure how to navigate that. Those are some things that I hope to cover in this channel, on this show, whatever this ends up being. And so yeah, I'm really excited for the discussions that will come up, and I'm sure it's going to make me very emotional. But yeah, if you subscribe and you're along for the ride, then welcome. And I hope that you're able to find community in these places, or whatever space that you're drawn to, whatever brings you joy, follow that. Because I don't think it will ever lead you wrong. And that's something I've been searching for a long time, since I've been living in the Sierra Nevada, is finding that community and really feeling welcome and a part of this space. And I want to see more people who look like me in these spaces, because it is tough sometimes, especially in the Park Service and in outdoor recreation. This area is very much dominated by white cis hetero males. Let's be honest. And so we need to have these discussions to show that they're not the only ones in these spaces, and that people that look like us do come into these spaces. We do come out here to do good work. We do come out here to have a good time, and we do come out into these spaces to contribute in a meaningful way. So thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me, and I'm hoping to post more episodes in the near future with discussions of other folks, but this will be hopefully the only one where it's just me, and every other time we'll be focusing on other people's stories they want to share about their experience in the outdoors and or working in conservation.